So today we kind of venture back into some Algebra 1 skills, but first of all, today is Friday, and it is Spirit Day, right? So today is the day, right? So you know what time it is? With my official Lee watch, it's Lee time. You know what I see with my Lee sunglasses? I see Lee things. You know what I hold with my official Lee cell phone holder? Official Lee cell phones. And you know what? You got to hand it to me. I got Spirit. All right, so that was fun. But let's talk about solving for y. Now, y'all know about these headphones and all that good stuff, that we should not have headphones in our ears. Oops, sorry. Right? True, true, true. And no helicopters, right? All right. So number 1, it says to do what? Solve for y. So this is different. We're solving for y. And that means we're going to have to do a little bit different than before, but it's the same idea, okay? So I'm solving for y. I gave you a hint on what to do. First, you're going to move the x, and then you're going to divide. Now, does anyone remember what this format is called on number 1? What form is this? What? Standard form of a linear equation. Standard form is like this: ax plus by equals c, okay? Basically, standard form is when you have x and y on the same side. But you might be familiar with this, so if you look over here in the classroom on this wall, y equals mx plus b. Remember this? What is this called? What form is this? What? 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 Slope. Slope what? Slope-intercept form. All right? You know why? Because m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Slope-intercept form. Okay? So we need to get this into slope-intercept form by solving for y. Oh, by the way, check out my cool hat. Service dog hat. So on number 1, x is 4x. I need to move that entire term over to the other side. Now, how do I get rid of a positive 4x? What's the opposite of positive? Negative or minus 4x. So we're going to write that down. Let's make sure I've got my cool Lee red to write with. So minus 4x. And on the right-hand side, minus 4x. Now, here's what I do. I do this for you and for me to make sure we don't get confused. I like to draw a little arrow to remind myself that the negative 4x is going to go in front of the 8. They do not combine. You're not going to write 8 minus 4 is 4. You're not going to do that, okay? Here's why. Does everyone see 8 has no x? And minus 4x does have an x. Those are not like terms. You cannot combine them. They have to stay separated, okay? So we put the mx in front of the b. And that should make sense because it's y equals mx plus b, right? So the x's cancel out. We're going to bring down 2y, equal sign, and I'm going to write negative 4x plus 8. Do you see what I did there? Okay. Now, my last step, if there's a coefficient in front of y, there's a 2. How do I get rid of that 2? We're going to divide to get rid of a coefficient. Everything gets divided by 2. Okay? So, these cancel out. Y equals, what's negative 4 divided by 2? What? Kinda. Negative 2. Is that what you said? So negative 2. X. Again, if there's a negative sign, make sure it stays there. Also, we have, everyone's listening? Everyone. So 8 over 2 gives us what? 4, so it's positive, plus 4. And that is it. That is what we call slope-intercept form. Y equals. Okay? Questions? Let's try another one. Let's try to stay focused. So on number 2, what's my first step again? We got to get rid of the x, which is a positive 5x. How do we get rid of it? Subtraction. So minus 5x. And on the right side, minus 5x. And the Mr. G thing to do, I like to remind myself that it's going to go right there in front of the negative 9. Okay? So these cancel out. What do I bring down? Careful here. Negative 3y. Some people forget the negative sign and it messes you up. So negative 3y equals what? Negative 5x minus 9. Okay? Our next step was to divide, right? But just real quick. Some people, when they see negative 3y, some people think about adding. Do you see why? You see a negative sign, you think, oh, I'm going to add, right? But no, this is a coefficient. Just like number 1, whether the coefficient is positive or negative, you must divide by that number. So that is our second step. Divide by what? Negative 3. It has to match or it won't cancel out, okay? And everything else gets divided by negative 3. Okay? So, on the left side, negative 3's are gone. Goodbye. Y equals, so negative 5 over negative 3, what does that give me? Okay, now you could tell me the decimal, but I want to remind us, and you can see this on my wall. Slope is always rise over run, right? Y'all heard that before?
Yeah.
Rise over run.
Rise over run. Do y'all know the Beatles? Wings? Band on the run. I know that song. Thank you, Miss Marrero.
Thank you.
Great way to remember.
So, rise over run is slope, right? We're going to get to that in a minute. So, we like to keep it as a fraction, not a decimal. Now, negative over a negative gives me positive 5 over 3, okay? X, what's negative 9 divided by negative 3? Positive 3, okay? So does that look like y equals mx plus b? It does, because m is a fraction, right? Okay, number 3, what's missing from number 3? Okay, does everyone see 3 has no x? But that's okay. We're still going to solve it. What needs to go away on the left-hand side? The coefficient 4 has to go how? Okay, divide. Divide by 4, divide by 4. We get y equals 3. Now, you can graph that if you don't remember. Whenever you have y equals a number or x equals a number, those are the unique situations where you have a horizontal or a vertical line. Can you tell me y equals 3? Is that horizontal or vertical?
No, it's a
Horizontal? Horizontal? Anyone think it's vertical?
No, it's horizontal.
What are you doing? Yeah, don't do that. Okay, it is horizontal, and here's how you know. Okay, the y-axis is what?
It's vertical.
The y is vertical, so y equals 3 is a line that goes through the y-axis at 3 horizontally. Okay, so it is a horizontal line on the y-axis at 3. So yes, this is a horizontal line. Number 4, though, again, same idea. What's my first step? So get rid of the 3x by subtracting 3x on both sides. And I like to draw my little arrow to remind me the mx goes in front of the b. So the 3x's cancel. I'm going to bring down 5y equals sign negative 3x plus 7. My next step, my last step, is to get rid of the coefficient by dividing. And we are going to divide by 5 everything. Cancel, y equals. So negative 3 over 5 stays the same. That's my slope. Plus, now you could leave it as that. Usually, that's going to be a whole number, okay? Because that's, you got to plot it on the y-intercept, y-axis. So Or you could have written it as the decimal, 1.4. Usually that'll be a whole number, but yeah. So that warm-up was on purpose. It was intentional because we're going to be using linear equations now, and you've got to be able to solve for y if it's not in slope-intercept form. We will see that here in a minute, but you want to make sure you have the notes sheet. It's the one that has Snoop Dogg at the top. Right here. Snoop Dogg. The Snoop Dogg. Okay, so make sure you got that. Okay. So let's talk about parallel and perpendicular. That's our objective for the day, so that you can identify and also apply the properties of parallel and perpendicular lines, specifically graphing. So go ahead. Yes. Take the red pass. But you want to get back quick? Oh, sorry. But yeah, you want to be here for this. So it says, what is the rule for parallel lines? Okay. So you want to, what the slope, you're going to keep the slope. Everyone listening? Everyone listening. So you want to keep the slope, and you want to change the y-intercept. Okay? So let's remind ourselves about these things. Slope-intercept form is mx plus b. You can write that right below it. Which one is the slope, m or b? So slope is m. Okay, y, don't know why. Okay, but slope is m, and b is y-intercept. So we're going to keep the, you can write this here, m, change the b. So if you have an equation, all you have to do is change one number, and now you have a parallel slope, or a parallel equation. Okay, so here's the dealio. We want to be able to graph. Do any of y'all remember how to graph linear equations from Algebra 1? Good. Some or one of y'all. The rest of us might need a refresher. That's what we're here for. You ready? So I'm going to remind you how to do this. First I'm going to see what y'all think. Do you think when we graph, should we graph the M or the B first? What do y'all think? Anyone else? M or B? What do we graph first? You sure? You sure?
You go for B and then.
Are you sure though?
Right, yes, I'm very sure. Because it intercepts at the Y, so you have to have it start there.
All right, so yes, you do graph.
Is it not? You go at 0, you start with the...
You plot the B first, you're right. So B for the y-intercept, you graph that first. And then your second step is to take that slope and use the slope to find the next point. Okay? So yeah, that is graphing Algebra 1 style. Plot the y-intercept, and then you rise over run. So, let's do that. So, what is my y-intercept for this equation right here? Negative 4x plus 3. What's the b?
3.
The b is 3. So, I want you to put a point at 3 on the y-axis, which is straight up and down. Okay? So, 1, 2, 3. Boom. Everyone should have a point right there, right now. Please. Okay? Step 2, we're going to take that slope and we're going to rise over run. Y'all remember the song?
Who sang? Are you a Lisa child? No.
Miss Marrero is singing songs about slope. It's great. So, now what is my slope right here? What's the M?
Negative 4 over 5.
Everyone with me over on the side? Negative 4 over 5 is my slope. Now, slope is what over what again?
Rise over run.
Rise over run. Now, what does it mean to rise? What direction is rise? Up or down? Up or down. Okay, I know it's weird to think about rising down. That doesn't make sense. But rise can be up or down. Run is...
Always left or right.
Now, it is left or right, but let me tell you, we're always going to take the negative for the rise. In our run, we're always going to run right. Okay, so it's like you're reading or playing old school Mario. You're always running right. Okay, so negative 4 over 5. Negative 4 over 5 is which direction 4? Negative 4. Rise down 4, and then run 5 to the right. And we always run to the right like Mario. Old school Mario. All right, so let's count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, down, because that's negative 4. And then run 5 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom! 2 points. Now today I gave y'all protractors, not for angle stuff, but for the straight edge. So you're going to use that straight edge to make straight lines. Don't just randomly draw a line. Straight edge lines. Okay? Okay. All right. Now, has everyone graphed the equation? Make sure you actually draw the line between the 2 points so you have a straight line. You draw your line. Okay, you're supposed to have a line. You're supposed to go down 4, right 5, and draw the line. Using your straight edge. All right. Now, so what does it say? Write an equation that is parallel to this graph. So right above it, we told you how to do it. Parallel means what with the slope? Keep the slope, but we change the y-intercept. So y'all ready? Here we go. Y equals, let's go with my color I want. Get rid of that. Y equals, now my m stays the same. So I'm going to rewrite what?
Oh, negative 4 over...
Negative 4 over 5x. But my b is going to change. Now, class, you can pick any b that you want as long as it's a whole number on the graph that you can actually use the slope to find the next point. So if you just use one below it, it's going to be kind of close. So my suggestion is pick a few units above or below. Okay? So in this case, now we could, if this is positive 3, we could pick negative 3 if you wanted to. Okay? Because there's enough space to make a parallel line. So that's what we're going to do. So, minus 3. So do you see how this and this are different? They're different. Okay, so what we're going to do now is graph the new one. So what do I graph first, M or B? B for beginning, right? So minus 3, put a point there. On the y-axis, negative 3 is right here. And then we're going to rise, over, run. So negative 4 over 5. Which way do I rise? Down 4. And then I'm going to run 5. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we are going to
Because parallel lines have the same slope.
make sure yours look nice. They should look parallel because they are parallel. Okay, use your straight edge. You want to make the lines long and make sure that they look, again, parallel. Now mine is a little bit imperfect, but it is what it is. Whatever. All right. Okay, so let's do the second one on this front page. Okay? The second one says, and by the way, I want you to do this one, but there's a problem. Okay? What is wrong with this equation when it says graph the line negative 4x plus y equals negative 5? Okay? It's not in y equals form. It's not y equals mx plus b. It's not slope-intercept. If only we had learned how to solve this for y, then we could do that. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, we had a warm-up on this. Wait a minute, we're smart and we can do this. Yes, you are smart. So, here we go. So stay with me, though. Stay with me. So we're going to write this down off to the right here. Let's rewrite negative 4x plus y equals negative 5. Now you are going to have to put on your memory cap and remember a couple minutes ago, when we are solving for y, what do we move first? The x. The x has to go to the right side first. So this minus 4x, what do I do? Plus 4x. So plus 4x, and on the right side, plus 4x, and I'm going to put that in front of the negative 5. Because don't we remember that different things do not combine, right? Did y'all see my cool e-colors? Yeah. I was going to go get like a dog mask, like the Eagles wore last year, you know. Go watch NFL. All right, whatever. So let's keep going. The x's cancel out. What do I bring down?
Your
Y equals
4x.
Okay, 4x minus 5. Now that's great. mx plus b, right? Here's the only issue. Don't we usually see m as rise over run, as a fraction? Okay. Usually it's a fraction, so we need to make it a fraction. How do I make a whole number into a fraction?
You put it over.
How do I make 4 into a fraction? 4 over...
No. Put it over 1.
What'd you say? 1. Oh, 4 over 1. If it's a whole number, please put it over 1 so you can see the rise and the run. Okay? So 4 over 1x minus 5. Now, all we just did does not belong on this line yet. That's just the original equation. What are we supposed to do for parallel?
You have to change.
Change the b, leave the m the same. So at this point, I want you to graph that equation, and then I want you to write a new equation and graph that equation. I should see 2 parallel lines in the next couple minutes. Let's begin. All right, so we are about to do the backside on perpendicular, okay? So everyone should have parallel lines drawn here.
I was
All right, here's my example. Yours could have been different. First of all, everybody. So, again, the y-intercept is -5. You start at this B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's your B. And then your slope is rise over run. So up 4, right 1, because they're both positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay. So I'm going to do a rough drawing of this. Your graph should look something like that. And then for your other equation, it's loud. Everybody, if you had not finished this one, I'm helping you out right here. Okay, you have to write the exact same equation with a different y-intercept. So I'm going to start exactly the same. Y equals 4 over 1 x. Instead of -5, you can pick whatever you want. You could pick +5. You could pick +2. I'm going to pick +2. Doesn't matter. Okay, something different. So I'm going to put a point at, again, B for beginning, starting at this +2 right here. And then I'm going to use the slope, rise 4, run 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And again, if I draw a line through that, it should look parallel. Now, my hand drawing is not the nicest, so do this at your own peril. But again, the way you drew it should look right with a straight edge, okay? So does everyone have parallel lines on that one? Okay. So on the next page, perpendicular. We want to get through the first part here at least. So what does perpendicular mean? Does that mean they intersect or no? Okay, parallel does not intersect, but perpendicular does intersect. And how many degrees are those angles?
90.
Okay. Everyone needs to know this. Perpendicular makes 90-degree right angles. Okay. So there's 2 rules for perpendicular. Okay. You're going to flip the slope and change the sign. Write that in, please, real quick. Flip the slope and change the sign. Now, off to the right here, this is called the opposite reciprocal. Have y'all heard that word before? Opposite reciprocal. What's a reciprocal? What does that mean?
it's like flipping.
Okay, it's flipping, and then opposite means changing the sign. So opposite means the plus or the minus changes. Reciprocal means flip it, okay? So, real quick, you don't have to write this down, but I want you to interact with me, okay? If I'm talking about perpendicular, just look up at the board real quick. If I have a positive 2 over 3, the positive becomes negative, and the 2 over 3 flips to become 3 over 2. These are opposite reciprocal slopes. These are perpendicular. Let's try another one. Negative 3 over 4. The negative becomes positive. The 3 over 4 becomes 4 over 3. Those are opposite reciprocals. Those are perpendicular. 1 over 2 becomes what? Negative 2 over 1, which means just negative 2. Okay? Now we could do a ton of these. We'll do one more. Negative 5 over 7 becomes what? Positive 7 over 5. Okay? So do you see how these work? You have to know what to do to the slope to make it perpendicular. If you only change the sign, that's not going to work. If you only flip it, that's not going to work. It's both. Change the sign and flip it. So check it out. Right here, my original slope is negative 3 over 4. So I want to do perpendicular. The negative becomes what? Positive. 3 over 4 becomes 4 over 3. So this is my new M. That's my new slope. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite this equation. It's already in y equals, which is nice. So let's write it again. Y equals, and what's my new slope? positive 4 over 3. So y equals 4 over 3x. Now here's the deal. The b can stay the same or change. You don't have to change the b this time. Parallel, b needs to change. Perpendicular, b can stay the same. Or change. So if you change it, it's not wrong. Do I want to change it or leave it the same? Leave it the same. Plus 2, you know. Might as well keep it the same. So, again, if you don't change two things about the slope, you goofed. It's negative becomes positive, and you flip it over. So we're going to graph both of these. Do I graph the m or the b first? B for beginning. So the b for this is 2. Put a point at 2 on the y-axis. And then, you with me? And then we're going to graph using the slope. What's the original slope right here? Negative 3 over 4. So my rise is which direction? Negative 3 means down 3 and run 4 to the right. So negative 3 to the down 3, positive 4 to the right. Try to make it look nicer than that. So that's my first original equation. Second one, the one I just wrote right here, I'm going to graph this. So again, what's my b, my starting point? 2, same y-intercept, so that's fine. But this time my slope is what? My m. 4 over 3, which is going up 4, right 3. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And don't you see these angles are 90 degrees, exactly what perpendicular means. Okay? So, that is our stopping point for today. We're going to finish perpendicular and other things tomorrow and have an assignment. Okay? By tomorrow, I mean Monday. Yes, not tomorrow. So, y'all have a good weekend. The only thing about the weekend is if you haven't turned in these 3 assignments, you want to do that for homework. So yesterday's parallel lines with algebra, and then the last 2 days, transversals and parallel lines cut by a transversal. This is what they look like on the front. Okay? Make sure you turn those in Monday.